listeners, viewers, well-wishers, we want to thank you guys for being a part of our audience and being here with us today as we have discussions to motivate, to encourage, to develop, to share ideas uh, with one another as technical directors, coaches, managers, players, uh, family, friends, and you like. We have a vast audience here that log in from different parts of the world, the African continent, Europe, the Caribbean region. It's a vast audience. Also, we record our programs and we have our YouTube channel, which is AR Student Athlete Soccer Scholarship. You can go up there and you can see all the videos of some of the technical directors, coaches. We have coaches already that coached the World Cup was on this show, coach in the top leagues around the world, graced us with their presence, soccer, collegiate coaches, managers, student athletes, you name it. Have been on the show before, having discussions with us to encourage and motivate as we continue along this journey of helping each other, which is very critical that we share information. Also, too, I'd like to let you know that we also have a Facebook group, which we have two groups now. One group is just growing, bursting at the seams. So we started another group pretty soon. We'll have a third group. And also my phone number for that group is 954-380-4829. That is 954-380-4829. And once you text me, and I would be able to share information, send you an invitation. You can get involved in the group. We share information there on scholarships, information from schools, collegiate coaches looking for players. We put that information inside of there. Also to the kids who sent me videos, I put the videos on our channel and the coaches go onto the channel and they identify kids and they would call me and say, Coach Roy, we need this player that we see on there. Like for instance, we have two sisters out of St. Vincent, one of the coaches from, I believe it's Harrison University. Saw both of them there from St. Vincent, and wonderful news. They are going to be leaving in the next 2 months for the United States to go to school. As you know, we have kids out of Trinidad, which are going to be leaving in the next 2 months. I received a word just now again from one of my kids that I'm working with out of Fatima College. He just got accepted. He got his visa. He's going to send his information for me. For those of you who cannot get on these feeds, you could go on Facebook. We're streaming live in Facebook and some other sites. So greetings, Mr. President, once again, and thanks for gracing us with your presence. We want to say hello to the SSFL different boards and members who are logged on. I can see some of them logged on here. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence as we continue to have discussions and moving forward, so the kids can be, brought up to scratch of what is transpiring. We know Trinidad and Tobago is slowly opening back, Mr. President, and I know some news came out today. I wasn't privy to the information, been busy coaching whole day and now coming on the set. So I want to welcome you again.
Thank you.
And
thank you so kindly
for being here. Just to introduce the president, to some of you don't know, whoa, massive list here: FIFA referee, tutor, teacher, chairman of the East Zone, match commissioner. It's just a list that running. FIFA assistant referee, a technical instructor. Been there, done that. Proud of you, sir, that you have went out there on the stage and made your mark and fly the colors, not just of Trinidad and Tobago, but of the Caribbean region. Welcome. And I would turn the floor over to you. I would also to share my screen with you. So my screen will be shared with you so you can also to able to put up your information as you go along. Mr. President, I turn it over to you. Questions will be asked. When the questions is asked, they will be typed, and then you can answer the questions from there. Yes, sir?
Thank you so kindly, Mr. Anthony Roy, student athlete, Soccer Scholarship Academy, tremendous organization, and for the wonderful work that you have been doing over the years. As a Trinbagonian, I am extremely proud of the work that you continue to provide, especially for our student athletes and the youths of the nation, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but within the Caribbean and the wider world. So it's really very commendable of you with what you're doing, and I trust, hope, and pray that you will be successful in all your endeavors. I've been privy to the several of the other shows that you have had, presentations, and quite qualitative, instructive, productive, positive presentations, very informative. And I would like to also remain in that same trend as we move forward to share with the listening and viewing audience of the plans, the visions, the goals, the aspirations of the Secondary School Football League of 2021 and moving forward. However, it will be remiss of me not to acknowledge those who would have done tremendous work as executive members and officers throughout the time of the SSFL, established since 1964. So at this point in time, I will be considered as the 12th president uh, and the 5th secretary in the person of Mr. Azad Khan, who has been General Secretary since 1992. That being said, I want to also acknowledge the other members of the present SSFL executive in the persons of the first Vice President, Mr. ECL Sicharan, the second Vice President, Cyrene Blackman Walsh, and the two Assistant Secretaries, Assistant Secretary of Administration, Mr. Gerard Elliott, and the Assistant Secretary of Operation, Mr. Lawrence Sipasad, along with our auditor, Mr. Kazim Khan. So very, very happy to be here. And there are some very noteworthy, important points that I will be sharing with the audience, and feel free at any given time to get your questions prepared, since I'll be willing and very ready to respond to any questions that will be asked. Anthony Royce, student athlete, Soccer Scholarship Academy. Very happy to be here as I indicated. And let's have a look now at some of the very potent and salient visions, goals, and objectives of the Secondary School League for 2021 in moving forward. So we are looking at having further training and certification of coaches with similar programs for administrators, managers, trainers, physios, marketing, marketing, PRO, mental fitness and sport, and may I also add inside of this one here also strength and conditioning specialists, rehabilitation specialists, nutritionists. Now that's really, Mr. Roy and others, it's really a lot for a secondary school football league, but as much as possible with the establishment of already having certified, qualified, competent coaches on board with the respective 109 schools that we have registered as of 2019, seeing that we had no season of 2020, and we all know why, because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Since we have certified coaches on board, the understanding and the expectation is, as a responsible organization, the Secondary School Football League, chiefly responsible for all the student athletes who are interested and are engaged in football in secondary school, that we also move along the route and pathway of also ensuring that as time goes by that the administrators, the managers of the team, the trainers of the team, the physios, and others who are part of the support technical crew or staff of the respective teams, that they would also be expected to be certified and qualified members of the technical staff. Now, that being said, at this present moment, which was unlike the secondary school football league for within the last 10 years we have started it, but before that, uh, coaches were not actually paid a stipend, but now they receive a stipend officially because of the arrangement with the Ministry of Education, the certification or qualification of the coaches. So it is expected that if we will also look towards being progressive as a responsible organization, to encourage that there is an equivalence with the administrators and other various parts of the technical support committee, that they will also be expected to be qualified and certified in moving forward. So it's a work in progress, because we expect and would like to have the most competent, most dedicated, and qualified persons working within the secondary schools football league, so that the beneficiaries, which in this case are the student athletes, will achieve the most out of our efforts. So that is objective actually number one. The second one is actually engaging the stakeholders, which is in this case the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, in collaboration with the Normalization Committee, the Ministry of Education, which is our chief, and we are totally in sync with the Ministry of Education, being a principals league, the Ministry of Sport, the sponsors that we have on board with us, the partners, the alumni, etc., to work towards the continued growth, development, and advancement of the SSFL. So I must say that we are very happy to have with us the various sponsors and partners, inclusive of the Coca-Cola, who are responsible for the Intercol, the First Citizen, and Shell, that is responsible for the league, and that is at the Premier Division in the Secondary Schools League. We also have on with us the Sportsmax Digital, that has been there for the last few years, providing coverage, live coverage of games, intermittently being selective across the board with the various zones and games. And for the very first time in 2019, something that we didn't have before, which is every other single division within the secondary school football league, from the Form 1, 13 and under 14 boys, the under 16 boys, the 20 and under boys, the girls under 15, and the girls 20 and under. All those divisions now in the lower divisions there, they are sponsored by Malta, Fruta Malta. So it's the first time we've been able to successfully have sponsors on board. Now, mind you, as I speak about the Premier Division, we also have the division just below the Premier Division, which is the Championship Division, which there is a promotion and a demotion of schools on an annual basis, with the top team in the Championship Division having the opportunity to move up with three of the top three schools moving up into the Premier Division. For 2019, we would have actually had three schools on standby to move up to the Premier Division, which would have been Moruga Secondary School, Shogunas North Secondary School, and Fatima College, which was demoted the year before, but they would have been returning to the Premier Division. That being said, we didn't have a season of 2020, and we are looking forward to having a season. Idealistically, for 2021, we are presently in the stage of planning, since we need to be very proactive and plan for what we expect ahead of us. So we are preparing optimistically with a season to start in September. However, we need to be rather realistic as it is right now with the positive cases and the death rates with the COVID-19 pandemic still making a very big impact on Trinidad and Tobago, so much so that we all are aware that the country is under a state of emergency and also curfew. We are looking closely and working in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, who by extension is relying heavily on the Ministry of Health to provide us with the necessary directives as to permission or sanction for one, resumption of schools, and two, for activities pertaining or within the ambits of the school, inclusive of various sports, and more importantly, the secondary schools football league. So we are preparing for that. If in the event we are unable to start in September, which most likely seem to be the case, then we have plan B, which is to start in the middle of October and have a truncated season, meaning that we may very well need to have a shortened season there, but yet still provide the competition for participation of students, in particular, those who are in the Premier Division and the Championship Division, and possibly the Senior Division. Why those three divisions? Is because in those three divisions, there are promotion and relegation interlocking each other, where schools winning their senior division are promoted to championship division, and a demotion takes place there with the last place team, and similarly with the championship to the premier, and the premier also having demotion to the championship. Now, more importantly, providing that we are granted permission, which we trust, hope, and pray that will take place, we already have formulated a well-documented health and safety protocol, which we have already shared with the relevant authority, as to how we will move towards ensuring that the participation of the respective schools can be done and the protocols can be observed. That being said, we would like to maybe focus, if we are allowed, and maybe not if we are allowed to participate, but we possibly will not be able to participate with all the divisions, then we will maybe have to focus on the senior division, championship division, and premier division. And in worst case scenario, which we hope not, then maybe the premier division and the championship division. And why? Why those three divisions, in particular the championship and premier? We want to be able to facilitate, to accommodate, to provide a platform for our student athletes to have an opportunity, for those in particular who would have missed out with not having a season of 2020 and who may not have the opportunity to take part in 2021, God's willing. It means that they would have lost the opportunity to acquire or to pursue and acquire football scholarships, as you would know, Mr. Roy, Anthony Roy, and others. So we want to give them that opportunity so they could pursue their football scholarships either locally, regionally, or internationally in and at colleges and or universities abroad, or here at UTT, University of Trinidad and Tobago. That being said, if we are able to provide that platform and they're able to participate, they would be in a position to have something concrete and credible that they can add to their resume when they are pursuing their scholarships. Having said that, we will not be ignoring or neglecting the other divisions or the lower divisions, because in the absence, if we are allowed to go onto the field of play with them, we will be very heartened by that and have our 11 aside football with the adhering to the protocols. If we are unable to go on the field with them, then we will engage them in an online a skills challenge competition. And as we know in football, soccer as the case might be, as termed in the USA, there are various skills in the game of football: passing of the ball, trapping of the ball, the shooting of the ball, even in the case of goalkeeping. So there are various skills that we would look at and engage the student athletes in a competitive mode on online, as the case might be. Now, if we are unable to go on to the field of play entirely, then it means that the online skills competition will now will be engaging all the various divisions, inclusive of the senior division, the championship division, and the premier division. But we hope that we'll at least be able to have the senior, championship, and the premier on the field, if not everyone. We are also considering seriously, as we have been thinking about it for the last 2 to 3 years, and as a matter of fact, we had it we had it we were on the verge of establishing it. We were unable to start it thus far, and that is also to have a girls premier division. As a matter of fact, that was supposed to be established in 2020, moving from the 2019 season, where we had the qualification and the selection of the teams that would have been engaged in the 2020 season. So moving into 2021, we are also looking at the possibility of having that established girls premier division to start off with. The expectation definitely would be to have, as the years go by, continuation of other age groups, maybe just like with the boys, with the Form 1, under 13, maybe to have a girls competition at that level, and maybe have a girls under 14 competition. But all those things will be further discussed with the General Council, which is the main decision body making, or the main body for decision making outside of the annual general meeting. So that being said, we will want to also consider, if not, if we are unable to get onto the field of play and we are allowed to maybe have a competition maybe indoors, again, providing the directives and the permission and sanction of the relevant authorities, then we could maybe look towards, or not maybe, but we'll be looking towards having um, a pioneer futsal competition, even if we have to use one or two of the division as a pilot project to establish the futsal competition. Now, we actually were looking towards doing it in the off season, because we felt that in that off season, as we know fully well, some of the most established teams in the world, inclusive of the two teams that will be playing the Copa America Cup final later on tonight. I think that game might be somewhere around 8 p.m. TNT time, is that those two countries, Argentina and Brazil, they have actually futsal leagues, and each of their professional teams, they also have a futsal team inside of it. And some of the most established players, with the Neymar, Ronaldo, to mention a few, they have been rather established and renowned futsal players before moving into the 11 side. As we know, even in Spain, for example, they have a professionalized futsal league there.